up, swashbucklers? You're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 107. My name is Phil Johnson. I'm your host for the show today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling your friends. Thank you for helping me keep the old barge afloat and building our little pirate community here. It's growing nicely, and it's all because of you listening and all that kind of good stuff. So, episode 107. Fun fact about the number 107, there is a 4th century work from India called the Sushruta Samhita, which identifies 107 vital points on the human body. And of those, 64 were classified as being lethal if accurately struck with a fist. And so, Vulcan neck pinch kind of stuff there. So Sushruta, who is often referred to as the father of surgery, his works form the basis of the school of Ayurveda medicine, which is they still practice today. And it was taught alongside various Indian martial arts that had an emphasis on pressure point fighting. I really over-enunciated that for some reason. Pressure point fighting, such as Varma Kalai and Marma Adi. So, 107 pressure points on the human body, which I think they use for acupressure and acupuncture and all that kind of stuff too. And hopefully they don't press on the 64 of them that are lethal, because that wouldn't be very nice. You'd want your money back, probably. My guest on the show today is a very requested guest. It is Dan Dolan from Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. Yes, the pirate community's most famous and probably only rap group. Yes, so there might be more out there, but I haven't heard them yet. So we're going to talk to Captain Dan today and get into all the Scurvy Crew stuff, his new group called Sci Fried. We're going to talk about their videos. We're going to talk about their music. We're going to talk about America's Got Talent. Lots of good stuff happening in this interview. You're going to really have a fun time with it. It's a good one. And I'm doing this show a little bit earlier than usual. Usually I'm recording this like the day before you hear it, so that it is as up to time. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. It's up to the period, up to the moment. That's the phrase I was looking for. It's the up to the moment news that you're news. This isn't even a news show. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. However, I'm going out of town for the Labor Day weekend. Gonna do a little R&R. We're gonna hang out in Angels Camp, California for a day or so, which is a little gold mining town out in Gold Country, California. And we go there because there's really not much to do, because we've been there a lot before and we've seen everything. And so we go there to do nothing and eat pizza at Mike's Pizza. That's mostly why we go to Angels Camp, California, is to eat at Mike's Pizza. So by the time you hear this, we will already be back. Labor Day weekend will be over, so I hope you had a lovely Labor Day weekend. If you are in Texas or Louisiana, I hope you're drying out. Man, that is messy, messy, messy down there. If you're not in that part of the country, enjoy your weekend and send some money and some food and some, blood, send some help down to the people down there who are still just soaking wet down there. It's ridiculous. So anyway, hope your Labor Day weekend is cool. I got a new thing, and you can come by the Facebook page to see it. It's at facebook.com/underthecrossbones. I just did a show last night in Santa Cruz, and this is a show at a place called the Blue Lagoon in Santa Cruz, which I've been doing this show for 11 years. It's been going on, and I think I was at the second or third show. Was my first time appearing there. And so it's been going on a long time. The Blue Lagoon, infamous place in Santa Cruz, California. It used to be a gay club back in the day and then turned into a divey rock club. And it is the quintessential divey rock club. Everything is painted black. The TVs above the bar show old 80s music videos just for no particular reason. Every surface is covered with band stickers. And the bathrooms are disgusting. So it is the quintessential rock club, and it's a wonderful place. And so we've been doing comedy there for 11 years, and I stop in there every couple of months and do a set. And anyway, the comedy show there is called the Blue Lagoonies, because it's like a Goonies reference, right? And so they finally, the guy that runs the show, DNA, that's his real name, actually. His name is DNA. He made up t-shirts that say Blue Lagoonies, and it's kind of modeled on like the Goonies logo. So I finally got my hands on a Blue Lagoonies t-shirt last night, and it is super awesome. And so I'll post a picture of it on Facebook, on the Facebook page, and you can see what the Blue Lagoonies t-shirt looks like. It's, again, facebook.com/underthecrossbones. Always more shows coming up. I got a lot of shows this week because I'm working out for the World Series of Comedy. So if you would like to come see me do some sets this week, Tuesday, September the 5th, that's when you're listening to it, a day that comes out, I'll be at Spats in Berkeley, California. Wednesday, September the 6th, I'll be at 88 Keys in Morgan Hill, California. That's a full headlining show that night. Also, while I'm down in Morgan Hill, I'm going to go visit Morgan's Cove. Now you see why my tongue got wrapped up around that. I'm going to go visit Morgan's Cove, which is a pirate attraction in Morgan Hill, California. And I'm going to record an interview with the owner, and we're going to take some video and all that kind of good stuff. So, big day in Morgan Hill on the 6th. Friday, September the 8th, I will be at Trek Wine in Novato, California, headlining their show that night. That is always an amazing show. And Saturday, September the 9th, I'll be doing 2 shows at 2 different places, both in Oakland, California. I'll be at Critical Hit and Comedy Oakland. So, and then right after that, I go to Las Vegas for the World Series of Comedy at the El Cortez Hotel. And if you want to catch me there in Vegas, my show is Wednesday, September the 13th. I think it's the 7 o'clock show at the El Cortez Hotel. World Series Comedy in Las Vegas, Nevada. And a lot of West Coast dates, but I'm coming to Vancouver, Canada. Right after that, I'll be in Iowa, Florida, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Lots of dates coming up. You can go to underthecrossbones.com, click on the tour dates button, and that will show you all the places where I'm going to be coming to tell you jokes. If you want to join us over on Facebook, lots of fun stuff happening over there. Again, facebook.com/underthecrossbones. On Twitter, we're at undercrossbones, no the there. And of course, you can get all the show notes for this show, videos and music and extra show notes and all kinds of good stuff at underthecrossbones.com/107. So what say we get into this interview with Captain Dan, shall we? I think we shall. Here he is, Captain Dan from Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. Captain Dan from Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. The first time I became aware of you guys was I was doing an interview with Jack Gonzo from Scoundrels in Radio, and we were talking. I said, "Is there any kind of music that doesn't exist as pirate music?" And he said, "I don't think so. There's even pirate rap." And I went, "Whoa, yay!"
Yeah.
And so that's how I became aware of you guys. And so, how far back? When did you guys start this group?
Man, it had to be 2006 and 2007 we started as just kind of a goofball, silly, we thought, oh man, this was back when we were doing like videos and stuff kind of in our college days, and we were pretty silly guys, and we, so it's been about, 10 years now.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit there. So pirate rap is a ridiculous concept to begin with, but of course there's the parallels of gold chains and wenches that makes sense.
I usually say it's pirates. There's lots of similarities between pirates and rappers. They both love gold. They both have gold teeth, and they both have a thing for big booty.
There you go. I like it. Nice. And so, were you pirate guys first, or were you video guys first, or music guys first? Where was the impetus to do a project like this?
My friend Brad and I have been best friends for forever, and my brother Scott. We were all really into music when we were teenagers and into our 20s.
Uh-huh.
And we did videos also and all that, but we were primarily musicians. Okay. And one of the things that I had always done as a younger guy was I had a studio. And so we recorded all our own music, and we always did that. And eventually I started opening my studio up to contract work.
Uh-huh.
And so what would happen was, invariably in studio work, what you find is most people that come in are rappers.
Right.
And every rapper that comes into a studio is like, I got that hit, man. I got it. I got this. And like, I would listen to some really, really terrible rappers. And some of them are pretty good rappers, but none of them went everywhere. And so, I had always had this thing for pirates and all that. And we were working on this video. It was a ninja versus pirate video back in the day when that was cool.
Okay.
And we had a character called Captain Dan, and he was the evil pirate fighting the ninjas. And, so I would go up against these ninjas. And one day we thought, I bet, between my studio time with all these rappers and the pirates and jokes, I'm like, I bet I could rap like a pirate better than these rappers do. And that's when we came up with the song, The Seven Seas.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you heard that one, But the Seven Seas was the first pirate rap song we ever made. And we had a video to go with it and all that. And there were ninjas in it. And there was, we were sailing. That was the first kind of iteration of Captain Dan doing rap. And we thought we were crying laughing because we thought it was so funny. It was just the silliest thing ever. And I don't know if you've ever heard that song, but it's worth listening to because it's kind of to put it bluntly, the I don't give a shit version of Captain Dan, the kind of, we're doing this and we don't care.
And that's often sort of the best iteration of that stuff is before it becomes a thing and you're just going, I don't know, what is this? That's great. I can totally identify though. Well, not really identify, but my friend Steve, who he's done a lot of my recording in the past, owns a nice studio here in San Jose, and he always tells me if I have to turn on the sprinkler one more time, I'm going to kill these rappers. Where that's the hi-hat groove, and he goes to turn it on the sprinkler, and he goes, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of brought out of that. It was like, man, these guys, but everybody's convinced that they are the best rapper ever, and frankly, I'm better as a pirate than most of them were.
I totally believe it. So then, so you've got this thing, and it's music based. You're doing some video stuff for it. At what point do you go, hey, we should put this on a stage somewhere?
Well, so we didn't even do that. So what we did was we just thought, we played that for a couple people, and we thought it was funny, ha. And then one day we said, you know what? Let's do a whole CD of this. It'll be great. It'll be a novelty. It'll be silly. We love pirates, and you know what? There's enough material here that we could easily do 9 or 10 songs worth of like pirate raps.
Sure.
So we sit down and we write one song, Blackbeard's Treasure, which by the way is on the front page of Reddit today.
Oh, is it really?
In Reddit Music.
Nice.
Yeah, this video is like 10 years old, right? It's forever ago we made this video. So it doesn't hold up when I look at it again, but the song was good. It was a story about a pirate on a treasure hunt, right? Blackbeard's Treasure is the name of that one. We write that one. We write the song about cannons. We write the song about mutiny. We write the song about my flintlock Glock. All the time we're just rolling in tears about how funny it is. And that's how we knew it was good, was because we were actually laughing at what we were saying because it was so absurd and stupid.
Right.
So we decided, okay, we're done with that. Make a really cheesy cover with a pirate with a bling hand and a gold teeth and a bird, which I actually have a bird, so no worries. Because I had lived a pirate lifestyle. I have pictures of myself at 4 years old at Disney World at the Pirates of the Caribbean with a hook and a hat, and it was a thing for me, right? It was like one of my little childhood things. So we put the CD away for free. We give it away for free on the forums on the internet. Back then it was Something Awful forums, which was before Reddit was a thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And we probably had, I don't know, in the first couple days, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 downloads. It got crazy. And the forum thread was 60, 70 pages, and people were like, wow, this is great. And, then all of a sudden we're like, well, wait a minute, we got something here, man. This is this. We thought it was silly and we like pirates and all, but man, this is people really like this.
Huh.
And it turned out that the people that liked it most were really nerdy people, just like ourselves. So I'm a self-identified nerd, right?
Yeah.
So the nerd people just loved it. And so that's what kind of inspired us to keep going and keep creating more. We didn't hit the stage. Man, we probably didn't start hitting the stage with it till another 2 or 3 years after that.
Okay.
Where we said, hey, we started to get these offers from people. Hey, come out to our pirate festival, or come out to our nerd festival, or come out, we started getting these requests to come play. And then, so that's when we kind of would started thinking about it and getting on the stage. And what I found that was always interesting was the first show I ever played as Captain Dan was within, I don't know, 1 year of doing the album. It was before we really decided to start getting serious and do stage work.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of, what happened was it was kind of a bad deal, and it kind of discouraged me from playing shows. We show up at this pirate festival, and have you been to a lot of pirate festivals? I assume so.
I've been to quite a few.
Quite a few, right? And I have too now after years of doing it. But the thing is, when you go to a pirate festival, they're really interested in you being period authentic, right?
Uh-huh.
So I showed up and I was not period authentic at all, right? I got gold chains. I got this fake hook. I got this stupid eye patch. I got a hat that I bought at Party City. You know, my buddy's with me wearing a bandana. We're showing up like we're gangster rappers with a pirate flair.
Right.
And we go to this stage, and there's this guy, you know, they end up putting us on this stage with this guy in an electric wheelchair, right? And he's sitting over there, and because he couldn't move, right? So they were so period Nazi, they put this guy over in the corner where it looked like he was stuck behind this thing.
Oh my gosh.
And so we're playing the show, and we're doing the show, and all of a sudden the music turns off, right? Ba-dum! And we're like, what happened? We were just performing.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, the guy in the wheelchair looks over at us and he goes, yeah, man, they pulled the plug because you're not period.
Oh, yikes.
And I'm like, dude, you're in an electric wheelchair, and why did they even bring us? Like, what are we doing here? Why are we here? And so that kind of I kind of started to think like, man, you have to really be clear with them when they book you that you are not period. But I never really quite got it because like all those folks who, I get why they were serious about it or whatever. Eventually I realized that, you know, they just got in their car afterwards and drove home listening to my CD, but they didn't want to have it while I was there.
That's funny. Yeah. There's definitely a contingent who is like hardcore period correct kind of stuff in that. And then there are elements, at least in the last few years that I've noticed where they do have a different take on it where, you know, they'll allow in pirate punk rock and things like that. They are a little more non-traditional, but yeah, the hip hop is really pushing the envelope of what that kind of crowd might accept at times, I guess.
Well, so even after, you know, in Florida, there's pirate festivals everywhere, right?
Sure.
And certainly there is a very specific clique of people that go to every single Florida pirate festival, and I would see them all the time, right? From Tampa down to Key West, to St. Augustine, to Sarasota, to Fort Myers, to Palm Beach, to Jupiter. You know, you'd see them every time. You'd see the same people. And I started to get along with those Florida pirates pretty well, but it wouldn't matter. When I would be on those stages, I would always meet someone new, and they would just, like you said, I was pushing the boundaries because they'd come and they'd look, and their jaw would just be like on the ground, and they'd be like, I don't know whether to love this or hate this because he's singing about the Pirates Code, and he knows the Pirates Code, and his whole verse is about the Pirates Code. The song's called The Pirates Code, and it's about real pirate code stuff, but it's rap, and I don't know if I like rap.
Uh-huh.
So just a lot of those weird stares and people like, huh?
Yeah. So what did you change in your approach to those festivals so that people would know what was coming and be a little less surprised? Or did you just let them be surprised?
Well, so what I did was a friend of mine, Tiger Lee, who was, he used to do the Hot Pirates Babe calendar.
Yeah, I know Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger. So he and we were pretty tight. He used to have my CDs in his store and all that. And he used to live out your way. I think he's over in, can't remember where he moved to. I think he moved to Tampa now.
Yeah, I think
so he basically got me garbed out. I called him up. I'm like, listen, man, I need some period authentic stuff. I need the right stuff. And so he basically dressed me and my boys up, and we got kind of, if you look at our CD artwork for Divide the Plunder,
uh-huh,
you'll see that we eventually became legit, authentic, period-looking pirates.
Okay.
That would rap.
Yeah.
So after a while, we did away with all the silliness, and we said, all right, if we're going pirate, we're going full pirate.
Uh-huh.
We're embracing it. We're part of this community. That's how we're going to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it is that they might have at the beginning just think, oh, these guys might be making fun of us. Because I kind of got a little bit of that same stuff when I started this show because people found out that I make my living as a comedian and they were like, this guy's just going to make fun of us. And then they listened to the show and realized that wasn't the case. But I did catch a little bit of that before people had started listening. So I understand that idea. They just didn't want to be made fun of. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, I kind of was making fun of them, but actually I was making fun of rappers more.
Right.
Because I actually love pirates, right? I identified as one. I was just never willing to take it to the point where I was really a true reenactor, right? Because even today, I don't really consider myself a pirate reenactor. I consider myself a comedy act that embraces the passion of pirates and silly rap music.
Right. That's cool. Now, you guys have done, I was watching a bunch of your videos this morning, and I love animated videos and stop motion videos and things like that. How did you, who does the videos for you guys?
So some of our most popular videos are the ones that I'm sure you saw. We have Rap Like a Pirate. We have Broadside and Sea Monsters.
Yeah.
They were all done by a guy named Matt Bowden, who's a super talented, really, really talented animator. And he, I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but we really liked the work he did enough to hire him for 3 videos over the course of 3 or 4 years. And he really just did a fantastic job. I mean, you saw them. They were really just well done.
Yeah, they were excellent. And very different styles. Like I guess there's a little bit of a stylistic connection, but he made each one of them look pretty different from one another.
Yeah, they were different enough, but still, some of the character art was close. It wasn't identical, but it was close.
Yeah. So then I saw your America's Got Talent audition, which I have a hate relationship with that show. In that I think competitions like that are horrible. I've been invited to audition the last 3 or 4 years, and I always turn it down because I just can't deal with it. I've had friends that are on the show that they did well, and it still didn't do much for them and all that kind of stuff. What did you guys approach them, or did they kind of find you? How did that start out?
So we were approached by them, which is usually a good sign. But as you can see, we were approached. They had come to Florida. It was the Tampa episode, so they had decided that the St. Petersburg thing to do, which is true, is pirates.
Okay.
Right. There's a lot of pirates there. It's a big part of the culture. They have the Gasparilla Festival every year.
Yeah.
So it was my assumption and understanding that they had invited 3 or 4 different pirate acts to come out and audition for the show. Obviously, our audition was the wackiest one.
Sure.
We were rapping pirates who had these swords, and we had all this stuff. And we were like, if you watch that America's Got Talent video, we didn't even get into our full act. We got about 25 seconds before they started Xing us, right?
Yeah.
And so the pre-auditions went really well. The producers loved us. They're like, man, you guys are really unique. We really like what you're doing. And I'm sure they say that to everybody on those shows, hey, right, you're picked. It was something like, what I don't know what it was, 125 out of 75,000 that actually got here. And like you said, even the people that do really well in their audition in front of the judges, they still might not make it to TV.
Yeah.
Right. So, it was kind of cool. We got our 15 minutes of fame, but it was also the most embarrassing moment of my life. And it was the moment that I realized that what I thought was going to be a future for me was not. It was the moment where it was like, hey, don't quit your day job.
Yeah. And, what I wish they would do with that kind of stuff, because a lot of the acts they bring on as cannon fodder, essentially, where they go, you guys are a freak show, and so we're going to bring you on and basically make fun of you, which is what drives me nuts about that stuff. And it's a terrible show for comedy to begin with in most forms anyway, but I wish they would say, look, there's a segment where we bring on people who we know aren't going to make it, but we think are going to be very, very entertaining for that 30 seconds that we're going to allow you on TV, so that you're not raising your expectations that this is going to be a life-changing type of thing, That was, and it was the stunning realization of that after the fact. It was really disheartening, and it hurt a lot, Yeah.
Because it's something I worked really hard at, and obviously they chose us because we were good. It's not like we sucked. We had a great performance on stage. We did it like we had it, but we didn't have what it took for they wanted like a group of guys doing clogging. That's what they're after. And the whole thing, if you watch where you see how Howie Mandel's telling us about the chicken and all that, I mean, that was a cool joke, but also what you didn't see was that we were actually the last act of the night.
Okay.
So we went on at 10 p.m. after being in a holding tank for 13 hours.
Ugh.
And the judges had been out in front of the cameras for 13 hours.
Yep.
And there were not a ton of breaks, and they had been working all day, and we had been sitting there all day, and everybody was cranky.
Yep.
And, they're like, all right, this is stupid. We're ready to leave. I'm hungry. I want a chicken. You didn't bring any chicken. I'm out of here. That's what happened to us, right? Had we gone on at middle of the day, or maybe we could have fared better after, who knows? I mean, I don't know whether it's predetermined or not, but I mean, it was an experience. I mean, I would say that was my 15 minutes of fame, like and afterwards I kind of said to myself, you know what, I'm good with that. That's okay. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I remember back. I guess this wasn't America's Got Talent I'm thinking of. It might have been Last Comic Standing, and they would do the same type of thing. They had their sort of freak show auditions, and they had put on a 3-second clip of a comic named Jimmy Gunn, who was a friend of mine. He passed away a few years ago, but he was very, very non-traditional and absolutely hilarious. And all they showed was the 3 seconds of him smearing frosting on his face, which in the context of the bit is a scream, but 3 seconds out of context, it made no sense whatsoever.
Right.
And all of us here were just so angry. They're like, oh, how could they do that to Jimmy? You know?
Right.
So, yeah, all of those shows just make me crazy. They make me crazy. So then what did you do? How did you then pick up and go on to your next thing after that experience?
Well, after that, that was the last time I did anything new with the act. Until just recently, my brother moved back from San Francisco. He moved to Florida with me. And we've started toying around with some new material again for the first time in about 4 or 5 years. I mean, it really was every bit of like you said, I mean, even if we would have done great, it probably wouldn't have done much for us. But what it did do was just tell me, I need to refocus my life in other places, because I've been putting a lot into it. I've been working really hard at it. And what I kind of did then was I left and I went to playing my guitar more and playing in a rock band and because I am a musician first and foremost. It's my number one passion.
Sure.
So it kind of led me to, hey man, maybe you need to take a different path. Maybe there's something else for you. And so until just recently, I haven't even donned, my cap or feathers.
Nice. And so what was the rock band you were playing with?
So I'm actually playing with a band called Sci Fried now. It's a geek rock band in Orlando here where I'm located. Playing just lead guitar, keyboards, singing. And we sing about, more nerdy stuff, kind of like, video games or, characters and things like that. We're more focused into the geek music genre, which is really honestly where Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew really had their biggest fan base. It was always in the nerd scene.
Sure.
The pirate scene begrudgingly accepted us.
Nice. And the that whole nerd rock scene with are you guys doing a lot of cons and things like that?
Yeah, things like that. We're doing cons. We're doing, nerd events. There's a thing called MagFest. We're going to be playing MagFest. That's a huge East Coast kind of like PAX. I don't know if you've heard of PAX.
Sure.
It's similar to that. But it's more gaming and music oriented. So we're going to be playing there. We're playing a Star Trek convention in September where we're walking out all the Star Trek: The Next Generation people. We're like the little house band on the side. So
nice.
That's kind of where America's Got Talent kind of put a wedge in my heart about what I really wanted to do with pirates after Howard Stern looked at me and said, this is very stupid. Unfortunately, it was one of those moments in your life where you reevaluate everything you do,
Yeah, definitely. But the whole nerd rock thing has a very devoted following. Between the comedy music element of it and the nerd element of it, there's the people that are into that kind of stuff are very, very, very into that stuff. I catch the outer edge of that because I do comedy music, but I'm not nearly nerd enough to to actually make it into a con type of thing. I don't sing about that stuff except for in a couple of songs. So, but I mean, I have friends that make a great living doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and you can. I mean, there's a lot of comedy music, people either love it or they hate it.
Right.
There's a lot of people I know that they go, you want funny music? I'm out. I don't care how funny it is. I don't care what it's about.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with it. My music needs to be serious or angry or dancey or sad or tell a story. It can't be funny. Music isn't funny.
Yeah. Have you run into that with finding band members? Because that was a struggle that I went through where I had written a couple of funny songs and the guys I was playing with were just like that. They were like, no way, we're not playing that. And that's when I ended up kind of, going off on my own thing. Did you have trouble finding guys to play that kind of stuff with?
No, never, because the secret is if you go find nerds love comedy in my experience.
That's true.
The guys that love that the people that love that kind of music, that love comedy music in general, are generally people who are really intelligent.
Sure.
People that understand the joke behind what you're doing and what makes it funny, and why the fact that it's music makes it even funnier.
Right.
So I haven't had any issues with that. In fact, in Orlando here where I'm at, there's a huge community of kind of geeky, nerdy music people that just all share and love each other. So it hasn't been tough at all.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. That's really great to hear. That's great. So what is the current status of the Pirates then? Is that kind of on hold while you're doing the other stuff, or is it, because I saw you had an album, like a 2015 album that came out?
So here's what happened. So I kind of disappeared. But the group, the Scurvy Crew, kind of continued on. We had Sea Dog, who was the first mate in the crew. He kind of, when I swallowed the anchor, he kind of picked up the captain's moniker and kept running with it.
Okay.
And he's done several albums since. One was Sea Dog's Mutiny, and then there's a couple other ones that he did that kind of he kept it going. And then right now we have a little Skunkworks project that's in the works, which will be kind of it'll be a group of parody songs. So all kind of classic, like 90s hip hop beats and stuff.
Okay.
Where we're going to overlay those classic songs with pirate music. So we're pirate raps.
Okay.
So
nice.
we'll see what happens.
Very cool. That's great. So where's the best place online for people to keep up with all the pirate stuff and the other stuff that you're doing?
Well, they can download our songs on iTunes. Just look at Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew.
Okay.
Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Captain Dan Pirate Rap.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook, obviously, by looking up the Scurvy Crew, Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. We're there. And so I recommend really the YouTube channel is the best place to find it, as you probably did this morning.
Yeah, cool. And what about your other stuff, the nerd rock stuff?
So Sci Fried, you can go to scifried.com. It's sci-fried.com.
Okay.
To find out more about our geek rock.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I'm sure there's folks that are going to be interested in that too, including myself. So I'm gonna go dig up some of that today.
For sure.
That'll be cool, man.
Yep, and we got a new album coming out for that in, I guess, the next 60 days probably.
Oh, okay,
We've
great.
been working really hard on that for the last year.
What's the name of the album?
It'll be called Hyperspaced.
Okay. I like it. Awesome, man. Is there anything that I did not remember to ask you that you want everybody to know about?
No, I think that's it, man. I think, just everybody stay scurvy out there.
I like it. Very cool. This has been fun. I'm glad we got a chance to do it.
Yeah, me too, man. Thank you. Thanks
bet.
for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Let's talk again soon.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
And there it is, friends. That was my interview with Dan Dolan of Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. And I think if we learned anything from this episode, this interview, we have learned that you should never watch America's Got Talent. Anytime I can encourage people to not watch America's Got Talent, I will happily do that. As I've mentioned, I've had friends on the show who you may have seen, Kellen Erskine, Sammy Obeid, comedian friends of mine who did very well on the show and are still out there, slugging it out like the rest of us. And I have some friends who also did not do very well on the show, and I won't tell you their names because that would not be nice of me. But definitely go check out Sammy Obeid and Kellen Erskine. Both very, very funny dudes. I think I've played both of them on previous episodes of this show somewhere. Anyway, if you want to find out more about Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew, as Dan said, go to youtube.com/Captain Dan Pirate Rap. And if you want to hear some of his new nerd rock music, it's good stuff. Go to sci-fried.com. Fried, like a fried egg, right? So it's sci-fried.com. We're sponsored today by Pirate Radio of the Treasure Coast, WKKC-DB, playing the best music in pirate radio talk. You can listen to this show, Under the Crossbones, on both of their stations. Just go to pirateradiooftheTreasureCoast.com or pirateradiotc.com, and don't forget to download the apps. That's the Pirate Radio Treasure Coast app for the music station and Pirate Radio Talk for the talk station. And they got some big new stuff in the works over there, so listen close for what they got happening. They're working on some new stuff that's going to be super cool coming down the pipeline. And if you're listening to Under the Crossbones over there on Pirate Radio of the Treasure Coast, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. We're going to hear a song. We're going to hear a song from Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. Do we not? Of course we do. So we are going to hear the song Broadside, which is one of their big hits. And if you wanted, the video for this is fantastic. It's animated. It's really cool. I will put the video for the show in the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/107. But let's get into it, huh? Shall we? Let's hear the song Broadside by Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. Here we go.
Broadside! Broadside! Navy boys better run and hide. These cannonballs flying at you when we collide. All me mateys be ready to fire a broadside.
In the Navy, it's the broadside that we favor. 21 3-ton guns shooting straight as a laser. Don't let it phase you when we bathe ya. 3 great flavors: cannonballs, buckshot, red hot razors. I wrap my face round a lion, man, I'm ready to rock. I'm coming straight out of Greenwich and we just don't stop. It's the British Navy from Gibraltar to Haiti, putting holes in your souls and charming your ladies.
And by ladies, you mean ladies of 180. Or if they're dressed like your dress, you might be just banging mateys. How many seamen have you swallowed while you're wearing that jacket? By the looks of your sailors, you just sit back and jack it.
Sweet sack, salt tack, and the Union Jack attack. Black flag gets snapped by the shells that we pack in my carack. With midshipmen and marines, better modify your coffin to take smithereens.
Which it means that you're keen to swim in Davy Jones' locker. When we're done with this fight, you'll have to walk with a walker. If you live, that is, cause I'll cut you down fast. I'll grape shot your party, then I'll burn down your mast. Avast!
Sorry mate, didn't see you waving that penknife. I was busy railing the governor's wife. I'll mash you drink for drink, you'll die. I'll get tipsy, back to your ship, you nautical gypsy.
You Navy boys always take the joys out of plunder. When we making that noise, you always poise up and wonder. If you're jealous cause we zealous, it's a perilous blunder. When we fire off the cannons, it be louder than thunder. Broadside! Broadside! Navy boys better run and hide. These cannonballs flying at you when we collide. All me mateys be ready to fire a broadside.
In the Navy, it's the broadside that we favor. 21 3-ton guns shooting straight as a laser. Don't let it phase you when we bathe ya. 3 great flavors: cannonballs, buckshot, red hot razors. You'll know me by the notches on my tricorner cap. Every snip is a ship that I've turned into scrap. Rolling round the Caribbean on a royal decree. If you can't take the heat, then get out of the sea.
We set a trap to attack when you showed us your back. You know we stack all the cannons and we drop all the tack. Point the guns at the hull and aim all your gas. 500 pounds sterling, whoever brings me his hat. Arr!
There's nothing sadder than a pirate with a fake eye patch saying arr as the cabin boy battens down his hatch. I'd love to know the STDs you're planning to catch, but I'm busy with my honeys at the bowling.
That's all she wrote. Now your crew will be smoked. We'll shoot down all your sailors and we'll blow up your boat. Your words are strong like the winds on the storm, but now you're left in rubble, could have left when we warned. Broadside! Broadside! Navy boys better run and hide. These cannonballs flying at you when we collide. All me mateys be ready to fire a broadside.
In the Navy, it's the broadside that we favor. 21 3-ton guns shooting straight as a laser. Don't let it phase you when we bathe ya. 3 great flavors: cannonballs, buckshot, red hot razors.
Boom, and there it is. That was Broadside by Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew. And that is our show for today, friends. Thank you once again for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you spreading the word, telling your pirate friends about it so we can grow this community bigger and better. And then we all get to do cool things, which is great. So if you want to hear more from Captain Dan and the Scurvy Crew, go to youtube.com/Captain Dan Pirate Rap. And also check out scifried.com. That's sci-fried.com to hear Dan's other nerd rock band, Sci Fried. That's all good. And of course, you can get all the show notes for this episode at underthecrossbones.com/107. Come join us over on Facebook. Did you hear something in this episode that you like, that you want to share with people, or whatever? Just say, hey man, I really like that one part where you crapped all over America's Got Talent for 15 minutes. Come over to the Facebook page and say hi, leave us a review, whatever you want to do over there. Facebook.com/underthecrossbone. Under the Crossbones with an S on it. Yes, because I have only done 107 episodes of this show. I should know what the name of it is by now. Lots of cool episodes coming up. Next week, we're going to hear from treasure hunter Carl Fismer. Then we're going to hear from Steve Beam from the band Pirates of Sail. And after that, we'll have pirate humor writer Nick Tyler, a.k.a. Captain Pigheart. Somebody you may not be familiar with, but he's an interesting dude, and he writes very funny pirate stories. So that is all coming up in the upcoming weeks, and I will talk to you next time. All right? Later.